state your name for the camera,
My name is
please?
Allison Wiegand.
Okay, y'all, this is the lady from last night. I didn't get the opportunity to talk with her, but she can give y'all a little rundown of what happened to her last night and what her experience was like being at the ICE Detention Center in Broadview, Illinois. Okay, go ahead.
So I just came in last night. I actually wanted to see what everyone was talking about. You see a lot of social media about people getting upset and screaming, and even little physical altercations. And so I was curious. I wanted to just kind of understand what people were saying, what their side was. I'm a staunch supporter of the ICE program, and I mean, I think that they're doing more good than harm. However, I agree that there has been some unnecessary force. But yeah, I pulled up and they were kind of screaming some pretty nasty things through the fence, calling ICE agents Nazis and some other things that I won't repeat. Pretty unpleasant. And so I asked one of the people, hey, what kind of is your purpose in doing that? Why ask them, why scream the obscenities? What is that helping? And it kind of got turned on me, calling me, every name under the sun, that I am a Nazi and I am a racist, which is kind of crazy being that I have biracial children. I don't think they would agree that I'm a racist or a Nazi or any of those things. But yeah, I mean, no one got physical, and so I appreciate that. I was able to, after kind of the storm calmed a little bit and people stopped screaming at me, I did have actually a really nice, beneficial conversation with the guy. Just kind of a little back and forth. So just kind of wanted to see what was going on today too.
Okay. So how do you feel that now you see in the news, and the news said that the protesters have absolutely been peaceful? Have you seen peacefulness yet since you've been coming out here?
Yeah, last night was the first night I
Uh-huh.
came in. Peaceful, yeah, that's a hard word because it depends on who you're talking to, right?
Right.
Words are violence sometimes, depending on what you mean. I didn't see anything physical last night,
Right.
so no one even attempted to. There was no pushing or shoving. So, would I say that's peaceful? The rhetoric is pretty awful. These are human beings too,
Right.
and
I
so,
agree.
they have families, they have people, they have feelings, just like everyone else. Feelings shouldn't come into it. On their side, on either side, and I understand it's very emotional, but you can't go around, or you shouldn't
Right.
go around calling names and screaming at people on both sides.
Right. I agree. But from me sitting out here observing majority of it, and it goes up and down my channel, I have asked ICE several different times before the gate came up to stay off the porch, to stop running, taking stuff up and down the rails, to stay off the siding. Like they done tried to set the sidings on fire. It's people that done shot firecrackers over there at them. It's people that done threw stuff
Wow.
over the gate, and I got all of it on video. So for them to say that it's been a peaceful protest, it's some people out here that have been peaceful, but it's some people that came out here to be violent. I watched one person named Sean get doxxed on the scene. I watched them break his flag. I watched them throw water in his face, spit at him, and throw food at him. I watched them kick him and do a lot of things to him to where he had to ask me to call the police. I watched another older man come out here, and they tried to box him inside of a crowd and was telling him he had to leave. He wasn't welcome here. And then they told me if I wasn't protesting with them, I was against them, and they commits to threatening me, slash my tires. And then when I told them, if you throw anything at me, I'm gonna throw gasoline on you and start a fire. Like, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's bad. Then I watched me get threatened the other day, and somebody called the police and said I was out here pulling a gun on them. And it was live, but it was like I told the officer, I've been live the whole time. Everything that transpired, you can run my live back and see it for yourself. Not only that, my vehicle got cameras all the way around it. But on top of that, I have watched them take pictures of people's license plates and say that they're doxing people, which is very much a crime. So where has the peace came from? Because I ain't seen it yet.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right,
That's not peaceful.
right.
And actually, you brought up a good point. I brought a bike on purpose. And my cousin was actually texting me back and forth. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna head down there. She's like, oh, be careful, and I'm because her husband actually works down the street here,
Right.
and he actually has video of them setting off firecrackers and everything,
Right.
and and it was screaming and yelling, and then they actually shut their work down. So how is that helping?
Yeah, because I done seen ICE say please and thank you. I got it on footage. I got stuff of them asking them because they stopped doing what they doing, stop hanging stuff on the fence and all
Right.
this. So then you saying it's not premeditated and it's force coming from ICE. No, it's ICE protecting themselves. I don't sit here and record these people telling ICE they doxing them. That's why they want to see their face so they can go violate their wives, their daughters, and all this stuff. Like
Right.
then y'all say, well, that's a freedom of speech. No, that's hatred.
That's right.
So
That's
I'm
right.
like, I don't get it. I
That's
don't get
right.
it, but I'm not okay with them blaming ICE because, like I told them, y'all mad at ICE, but the call for this came from the higher up. So are
That's
y'all
right.
mad at Trump? Like that's who told them to do this job. So therefore,
Right.
you can't hold them responsible. They're like, well, quit. I'm like, well, if you come to me and tell me to quit my job, let's talk financials. You supposed to beat that 50,000 K
Right.
sign on bonus. You supposed to beat that 100K at the end of the year to make me
That's
even
right.
consider it. Like you gonna bring what this job offers because I still got a family to feed.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I'm just thinking logically. I just feel like it's bad. I don't like the fact that people don't agree with y'all having a difference of opinion. I think y'all entitled to y'all opinion just like they entitled to theirs, and I feel like you shouldn't be attacked about it.
That's right. 100%. They're normal human beings too. And to hear, I mean, just awful, awful things being said. About physical appearance, again, using the word Nazi is very, again, I personally don't think that words are violent, but who does that help? If we're down here if their goal in being here is to help, how exactly does that help anyone?
Well, let me say this without making it a race issue, but since me being black, I'm gonna be the one to state it. If you would have walked in my face like that girl did you last night, I would have automatically swung because you violated. If you close enough to kiss me or you close enough for me to swing, like yeah, no, and then you sitting here calling me out my name like you too close for comfort, baby. I'ma bag you up. So we was sitting here, we was sitting here looking at it. We was like, do they think that's okay for them to walk up in our face like that? How do they think this gonna
Right.
turn out? And then I'm like, that's crazy. Then I'm like, if they hit her, I'm gonna record it and call the police.
Thank you.
Like I was gonna do you just like I did Sean. Then they told their people, well, she called the police for Sean on Isaac, yeah. Because Sean wasn't doing that, he was holding his flag, and then the fact that y'all are literally ganging up, like all y'all was taking a swing. I'm not finna sit back and watch no stuff like that.
I appreciate that. I think, yeah, it was definitely. You just don't talk to people on a normal basis like that. And I was very calm and very polite, and I don't mean to insult anybody. Um, but I think that should go both ways. And I think,
Now I got a question for you. Now I don't care. I'm not offended by it, but I do want to get understanding. Last night when you and the Mexican man was talking statistics,
hmm
and he asked you who is the most criminal people on the earth. You said black people.
so not on Earth in the U.S.
Okay, in the
And that's
U.S.
strictly statistically speaking. Now, where I should have clarified the question, and I did
You
not. I'm
good?
talking no. Just as far as
Right.
statistically, we're talking black and white numbers. What I should have specified in that question was per capita versus the U.S. So my thought always goes back to the statistics, right?
Mhm.
So when black people are making up 13% of the U.S. population, then we go into, okay, let's say half of those are males, 6 to 7%. Um, when 6 to 7% of all of the U.S. population is responsible for 60 to 65% of violent crimes in prison, there's an unbalance there, and that's where that thinking was coming. I appreciate you letting me clarify that, because again, it's strictly numbers. It has nothing to do with color, personal, or it's nothing personal. It's all numbers.
Right.
Now, he's correct as far as when white men, they're 70% of the population, so obviously they're going to make up more of that crime,
Mhm.
being that they're almost 7 times more than well, more than 7 times, 10 more times of just black males,
Right.
right? So there's the imbalance there. And even by his own numbers, they made up half again. So for specifically murders, you looked at there was 4 million. I'm just looking at 4 million from white males. So 4 million versus 1.8 million for the black men. So that's almost half, but they're only 6% of the population.
Right.
So that's where that imbalance is, and that was my thinking. I should have said per capita versus the number as a whole, because he is correct. It is white males. However,
Finding you.
imbalance.
See you
Yes.
later. Your phones are on the
Thank you.
mic
Nice
stand.
meeting
Really good
you.
talking to you.
Yeah,
Good
Allison.
talking.
Jeff, nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
So, yeah, we just had a long conversation, but yeah.
So what is his views on all this?
He's definitely on the other side.
Oh, okay.
No, I wouldn't. I hate sides. I don't mean like my side, your side. We're all one side, but
Right.
very, very polite, very
Respectful.
respectful.
I get it.
Yeah, which I think we should all be able to do that. Is have a respectful conversation. And even at the end when I was solely talking to another gentleman last night, very respectful, very, I just think that there's a better way. There's a better way.
I said the same thing. I understand, like, why they sitting here, whatever they doing, because I ain't gonna call it, everybody didn't come to protest, so I'm dead. I feel like you're not stopping ICE from doing their job. Is they still rolling them in, they still rolling them out. I felt like what a better response for me to be is find out the chain of command, that where I can do, where I can start, how many petitions I would need to get signed, who I would need to go through to either get a hold on this, to shut it down, and get somebody to actually strong enough to weigh in on my side. Like I told him, if you had to, see what it would take to get it to the Supreme Court.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's a better way, and screaming and screeching and like you said, the personal insults, just unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary, and it helps no one. That's my whole.
Yeah, because I told him I think it's with, like, since that Sean was the first person that went out. He was a white dude that got attacked out here for saying he happy to be from the USA. And then they was like, well, how do you feel like we fix this? He said, well, they sending y'all a free ticket to go home and come back in the right way. They didn't want to hear that.
Right.
But then y'all saying y'all been snatched up, y'all been separated from y'all family and all this stuff, when he's giving you the option to go home, and then they're like, they made it harder for us to get back. Why if you say it ain't good to be here, why you want to be here?
And and you get $1,000 on top of it to go.
I heard about that yesterday. I didn't know that part.
So even if you go, like one of the gentlemen I was speaking to, he sign the papers they needed to sign and say, hey, we screwed up, and then they can stay. Well, how is that right for the people who are doing the right way, who are standing in line right now and waiting?
Right.
So how is that right?
Right.
Just because you subverted the process, you should get to stay? When there are people that have been waiting in line for 15 years, that the immigration and it all needs to be reformed. There's no doubt about it. There's got to be a faster, less expensive. It's very expensive ways to go about it. 100%.
And why did we go get their criminals and we got our own criminals?
And there's that too. So one of my major concerns is the children, the missing children at the border. There are tens of thousands of missing children that they can't find, who no one knows who they belong to begin with. They weren't doing DNA testing at the border.
Right.
And so the trafficking of the children is one of my major concerns. But more so, the vetting of, not more so, the children are number one. But right below that is, who are we letting in?
Facts. Because my thing is, I found out from a couple of interviews, and I hope these people don't think it made them look good in our eyes. A lot of these people gave up their kids for the coyotes to transport them over here. And in order for them to transport them over here, they basically told them they had to prostitute and make a certain amount of money to compensate them for their troubles in their time.
100%.
So, and then they was like, it was birth certificates, social security cards, fake passports, and all this stuff found at the border and stuff like that. So Did you think about your child when you was making that decision? Because now you don't even have an opportunity to track your child down.
Right. 100%. 100%. And then now you hear things of sleeper cells and all of these things. We don't know. We don't know these people. And I'm not talking about the guy who's mowing the lawn. And I understand that's their argument. That
Right.
there's the guy mowing the lawn in there. How do you, number one, how do we know that?
Right.
He could be mowing the lawn by day and doing something nefarious by night. And I'm not saying that he is or he isn't.
Right.
Number two, what are the stats in that? We don't even know. We don't know.
Correct. And then they keep lying saying that they've been treated inhumane in there and they on the floor and all this. Where's the proof? How you know? Like if I'm supposed to take your word on this, so I would prefer or hope that one day they allow us to do a walkthrough, because I watched them do the walkthrough of the alligator Alcatraz down there in Florida, and it just looked like a damn pen. A damn kennel pen or a hog pen, where like a dorm or something like they do in regular jails or prisons for the ones who got to go there. They got the bunk beds in there like they do in prison, and then they got to where everybody get on their bunk. So I don't see what the issue is. Like if you don't want to be there and you know that's where they gonna sit you at until they get ready to house you at. And then I found out from alligator Alcatraz that once you went in, you had no outside contact. People didn't know where you was and wasn't no longer able to track you until you turned back up in Mexico.
Right. But whose fault is that?
That's true. That's yours because you didn't leave. Because if they get you, you're going to have to go through the process. So they saying they ain't got to do a process. Yes, you do have to do a process. Your process is we're going to cage you up until we get ready to ship you out. And then you go have to figure out where you go from there. You're going to let these people know what happened. And then it ain't just about the Mexicans, because I seen some Africans or whatever they from. I seen them get locked up and snatched out the cabs and stuff, and they sending them back too. So them ain't the only one going through, Mexicans not the only one going through deportation right now.
Right. Now, so a little anecdotal story. So I actually just got back to the Chicago area in 2023. I moved from Uruguay, South America.
Okay.
So I was there for 3 years. I had, my ex and I, who was Uruguayo, we built, took an entire property. We built a neighborhood. Now, by their law, we had to donate 20% of that neighborhood to the state, or to the country. So we built a football field and basketball courts and stuff in that property because that's a law there. I dumped all kinds of money. We built a home, all of these things. However, I missed a visa appointment. Medical issue, almost lost a leg. That's a whole other crazy story, but look
at God, and you standing here with both of your legs today. Right, let's go.
That's right, praise God. But had they come and got me in the middle of the night, right, and even I had dumped my entire life savings into this property and my home that I had to leave and all of those things, and they yanked me, and my daughter, who's 14, she was with me there, had they yanked us in the middle of the night because I didn't file my visa, that's my fault.
Right.
That is 100% my fault.
Right.
I was lucky it didn't happen, but that's not that would be 100% my fault.
So now that you didn't redo your visa, can you go back once you redo it?
I sure can.
Okay.
I can. But I wasn't deported.
Okay.
So, but had I been deported, then maybe not. I don't know what their laws are there.
Right.
But that was 100% my fault. And had they yanked me out of the country, I would have said, you know what, I messed up. I screwed up.
Right.
So, and then their point was, go back to, so my family, my great-grandmother was from Germany, and then, a little bit of Swedish in there, so Sweden. Go back. Why don't you go back? Well, let's say I did. I go back to Germany. Number one, I don't know a lick of German. I've never stepped toe in that country. And if I did, I could be deported out of Germany.
Let's go.
We're all Americans.
Right.
We're Americans. Whose land it was, 1,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What does it have to do with today?
So, okay, let's one more and then I can be done with this. How do you feel about them keep saying we on stolen land?
That's insane. Because... Right, so the Indians, yes, and we compensated them for that horrible things that happened that your grandparents and my grandparents had nothing to do with. What are we supposed to do? I'm supposed to go back to Germany?
Right.
Go back? Go back. I got to go there in the first place to go back there. So the stolen land is it's an obsolete thing, unfortunately. What we did to the Indians back in the day, horrible things. We've tried to compensate for it over the years. And how much more are we supposed to do before it's like, okay, now we're good?
Right.
How much more do you want?
Right.
So,
Okay, y'all. Well, y'all asked me would I interview her. I interview her. I thank y'all for tuning in, and we out. Bye.